BJP 22 out of 28 seats that it is contested. The magician is back at the wall. I was floundering. I couldn't bring out those figures. But just take us through the overall numbers, Zach, and the rest of it, because this is...
you were trying to do the phase 1 and phase 2.
Yeah,
so there's
right.
an interesting data there. You know, there isn't much difference alliance-wise.
Yeah.
Out of 122 in phase 1, the NDA had 94. But if you look at the breakup, the JDU has done better than the BJP in phase 1. It's got 46 and the BJP is 39 out of the 94 that the NDA got in the 121 that went to... Again, they've got a bulk of the seats as an alliance, 98 in the first phase, 97 in the second. But in the second phase, if you were to break it down as parties, it's almost the mirror image. The JDU is number 2 at 34 and the BJP number 1 at 40. And I think a large part of that is because of this Mithilanchal, this northern, north of the Ganga belt. Here in Simanchal, where the JDU did not do well last time, they've got a whole pocket of seats. And then, of course, in Bhagalpur, which is their sort of stronghold seat,
so would this be some Muslim voters might have even voted for Nitish?
It's possible. It's possible that Nitish has had some Muslims voting for him. But more than that, I think in Simanchal, what happened is one collapse of AIMIM. I think he's completely gone. Whichever Muslim voter voted for him last time has now come back to Congress and RJD. But more importantly, I think there's been a degree of... Remember, this happened the day after the Delhi blast. Phase happened exactly a day after the Delhi blast. I think
so you're saying that there could be counter-polarization. Rahul Verma, do you think that could be the case here?
So first of all, we are in the zone of 2010 election results, when BJP had got 91 seats and the JDU has got 102 seats. So they are basically touching 200 mark, and given that number, so at that point when BJP, the NDA had won 2010, I think Nitish Kumar had some sort of like presence among Muslim voters. I don't know whether the alliance would get any votes now, given the kind of polarization that has taken place in last 10 years. But here and there, one or two individual candidates might have got this. I think it's basically what seems to be happening.
JDU was criticized for reducing the number of seats that it had given to Muslims recently.
But what seems to be happening, that it's not just that the all allies are putting together, it's now the sum is becoming whole than the parts, right? Each one is pulling the weight, and then they are basically getting an extra leg up.
So look at the Muslim-dominated, what was saying, even in Simanchal, a large number of seats, out of the 53 Muslim-dominated seats, 41 of it, that's more than, again, close to 90%, 41 out of that 53 has gone to the NDA partners. And in the Simanchal region, you have a lot more Greens this time, which is the JDU seat, as opposed to what we saw last time. So I think a degree of counter-polarization, reverse polarization, call it what you want, seems to have happened here.
Seems to have happened. Nalin?
No, so there's absolutely counter-mobilization which has happened.
No, I'm talking actually, moving beyond the Muslim vote, the rural shift that has taken place. I mean, that is, I think, almost landslide. I mean, it's gone the exact other way.
If you look at the number of gains that JDU is making, look, it's a complete sweep in 23 for NDA, 46 for
I mean, what the India and the others have lost, NDA has gained.
Pavan Verma, I believe, is...
Pavan Verma, let's go straight across to Mr. Pavan Verma. Mr. Pavan Verma, look, it was anecdotally stated that it was going to be a two-alliance battle, and that perhaps the Jan Swaraj may not be much of an influence on the ground. But here our experts seem to suggest that the Jan Swaraj has had a catalytic effect, that it has actually hit Tejashwi, because the message of who can deliver development and help the youth has focused that question in favor of Modi, favor of Nitish Babu, and therefore you have this massive runaway wave almost that seems to be consuming.
Well, Rahul, Jan Swaraj has had an impact on the ground. I don't believe to begin with it was our intention to strengthen either of one or the other nation. We came with, it is a disappointing result for us, without doubt, and I have no hesitation in admitting it.
On the EC website.
The many years of my public life, I have seen such situations happen. But we have a consolation that we came with the right message, the right ideology, with absolute sincerity to carry out fundamental changes on the ground on issues which matter: jobs, education, migration, corruption. There was nothing lacking in our effort also, although we are a new party. The kind of effort, Herculean effort that was put in 3 years, including 2 years of a Padyatra, also is more than a consolation for us. Yes, as against our effort and our ideology, the results are disappointing.
Pawanji, Zaka here. I do want to know. No, you campaigned for the last 3 years. He was the longest campaigner on the trail. He, in fact, even said in interviews, either I'll get 10 seats or I'll get 100 seats. Today, Jan Swaraj has got 0 seats. And I was asking my colleague Nalin to look for the vote share on the Election Commission data. ECI is not even showing the vote share data. So I suspect it might be, 1 or 2%, not more. So clearly, the message did not resonate. Or maybe Bihar is still stuck in the old caste play.
Possibly. Change takes place gradually. There could have been mistakes in our campaign. I believe our message did resonate. We have enough evidence from the ground, but given 2 established coalitions and the enduring appeal of Nitish Kumar, above all, which is the surprise of this election, and I have worked very closely with him, I think in a sense marginalized a third player, and that I think is what has happened. I mean, we had an impact, and above all, the issues we have raised are going to be a permanent aspect of the agenda of governance in Bihar. I can assure you of that. But yes, the results have not vindicated.
So let me bring in Tuhin on this point. I think, look, you can't fault the Jan Swaraj for not approaching this with sincerity. They didn't go the caste route. Yes, I'm not saying that they ignored the caste route. There were seats that were given, but the message was not caste focused and caste centric. So just stay on with me, Mr. Verma. I want to bring in Tuhin to respond to you. Tuhin Sinha, the criticism that came from Jan Swaraj was that, look, the economic indicators suggest that you don't deserve a second chance. Yet somehow you have transcended this criticism. How has that happened?
Well, definitely, Rahul, there is room for improvement, but Bihar has come a long way from 2005. And people of Bihar still believe that the only party which can take them ahead is the BJP. It's not Jan Swaraj, it is not RJD. When it comes to Jan Swaraj, they raised some good issues, but there was a lot of dichotomy. I have come to know from people in Bihar that the maximum amount of cash, they were, while they claimed to be an honest party, they were distributing mobile phones, they were distributing cash. So Jan Swaraj came across as a party that was not genuine. And by the way, I have one question for Mr. Verma. Prashant Kishore, instead of focusing on his campaign towards the end, was more focused on how many seats would Nitish Kumar get. He had made all claims about JDU, that if JDU gets a certain number of seats, he will quit politics. Now, I don't want him to quit politics, but at least, he should learn from his mistakes and he should be a little more humble
what are the
going
lessons?
ahead, because politics is a...
I don't want to make combat, but so let me just ask, where do you think you need to, Mr. Verma, improve that either message, presence? Where is it that you think there is space to improve?
Rahul, first of all, to what Tuhin just said, I wish we had the cash to distribute. I wish we had the mobile telephones to distribute. It may have helped. We didn't. We know our limitations. But we have realized one thing, that purely on the sincerity of our ideological thinking, in a state as massive as Bihar, perhaps the time available of 3 years,
Verma, and it cuts the other way. So just allow me here. It cuts the other way. If you're saying, I wish we had cash to distribute, probably referring to the 10,000 rupee handout, you seem to suggest that was a need born out of compulsion. And if the compulsion is so great, it means that there's a huge upsurge of anti-incumbency, which you don't seem to have gotten on. So either your message has failed or your leader is not trusted. Can't be both. Or maybe both, I don't know. Could be.
No, you see, Rahul, simply put, success has many godfathers, failures has many orphans. Let's not go there. I've seen other parties also. I've seen Nitish Kumar, by the way, and this is interesting, I was the first person who met him in 2014 when he got 2 seats out of 40 in the Lok Sabha election. He resigned as Chief Minister. Mr. Manji became the Chief Minister, accepting moral defeat, moral responsibility. And in 2015, he was Chief Minister again. In politics, there are ups and downs. But there's no point trying to hit below the belt. You were distributing cash, you were doing this. None of it is true. We came with a sincere message. We put in as much effort as we could. If we haven't succeeded, there are lessons to be learnt and no doubt that they will be gone over. But Prashant Kishore is 48. If that, there is time.
That's the same logic that Rahul Gandhi also gives. He's 54, 55. He's got time. Everybody has time. The point is not the time. The point is, are people buying your message? Is there resonance? Let's take, for example, Rahul Gandhi's yatra. There was this famous voter adhikar yatra that Rahul Gandhi and Tejashwi Yadav undertook in Bihar through much of August and some parts of September. It covered 183 assembly constituencies. And guess what? 148 out of those 183 have been won by the NDA. Let's look at how much the Congress party got in those 183 constituencies. The Congress is currently leading in 7 out of those 183. Admittedly, they are fighting in 34 out of those leading in. But if this whole point about, a yatra, voter adhikar, SIR, cheen liya aapki hak and all that is only resulting in 7 seats, then I'm not sure. I don't think the right issue was picked. I don't think they read the mind of the voter. And I think that's the point that Rahul was also trying to make. The opposition picked on issues which didn't seem to cut ice with the voter. And if you go back and look at the overall map now, and somebody said, much has changed between 2005 and now. The electoral map doesn't seem to have changed. This is the 2025 map. Just take a look at this. This is where the JDU has got a bulk of its seats, the BJP up in the north. And look at the 2010 map, which was the first time, I think the second time in an alliance. Look at the map. It's the exact same. This is the best performance that the NDA has had in Bihar 15 years ago at 206. Look at the map and look at the map currently. So the more, as they say, the more things change, the more they remain the same. It's exactly the same. They are inching closer to that. I don't know if they'll get to 206, but it's the best performance since 2010.
None.
For Mr. Verma, if he's still there,
yeah.
That can anti-BJP or anti-RJD rhetoric, can just anti-BJP or anti-JDU rhetoric be a substitute for real politics on the ground? I mean, what's your view on that?
It's a good question, and I think to reduce the effort made by Jan Swaraj to be just a negative campaign against 2 parties is not a fair assessment. You see, once we have not done as well as we expected, in fact, have done, then all kinds of assessments are made and we become the punching bag. But nobody can doubt the substantive content of the message. Jobs, improving education, reducing poverty, improving primary health care, preventing outward migration, reducing corruption, especially at the lowest levels. How can you fault an agenda like that?
No, but Mr.
And
Verma,
by the way, every now in Bihar is talking of these issues.
Mr. Verma, the question is that after Bihar is one of the most underdeveloped states in this country, and after such a long reign of governance by Mr. Nitish Kumar, if the opposition still can't make a case for better governance, then where does that leave, what does it say about their politics and their credibility?
It's a very good question. It's a good question. That is something we have to also ponder about, but please don't forget in the background that we are a literally 1-year-old party, and the effort began earlier, 2 years before that, but not as a party. So this time we have not yet been able to.
So let me ask you, because many people,
but please don't fault the message.
No, okay. So many people, Mr. Verma, suggested that look, only very parties, startup parties that have actually captured power. So now you're suggesting that it's not your message, it was perhaps the wherewithal. You made a sort of reference to the fact that you didn't have money to distribute and so on and so forth. But clearly you entered the election knowing all these variables.
That is one factor.
Yeah.
So
Guru
when you
Prakash
begin
Paswan
a
also here
process,
with us. Let's put him in.
You begin,
Yes. Go ahead,
you
please.
begin with hope. You
Yeah.
begin with hope. You begin with hope. When the results don't match up to your expectations, you do a reassessment.
No, but you were also
We
marketing
accept our
hope. And
defeat.
the fact is that as a fresh leader, a new person.
What do you do with hope? Keep it in your pocket? Of course you market it.
Yeah,
You
that's what I'm
project
saying.
it.
So clearly, your leader does not enjoy the trust. He's not seen as someone
You know,
who can
Rahul,
take the hope.
do we have that strike rate where you have the
Yeah.
Jansuraj and MIM? MIM today is leading in 3 seats. He
Yes.
probably have 3 MLAs in the new assembly in Bihar, whereas JSP will have 0. Do we have that strike rate comparison between JSP and MIM? MIM, I think, was fighting 25 seats, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He's currently leading in 3. He has a strike rate of 11%. There you go. 0% for JSP out of, I don't know, I think they were contesting in 100 plus, certainly
Yeah,
150 plus. 0% strike rate for the JSP, 11% for the MIM. And admittedly, MIM is a Muslim party, right?
Yeah. So they have
are
a
currently
cash
leading
in.
in 3 seats. So what does it say? I mean, I come back to that. Either the message is wrong or the messenger is wrong. Now you tell me, Mr. Verma, who is wrong?
I think